Previously on the Beam Chronicles.
Equalization is our last resort, even against the most potent of anomalies. A motto of mine goes, defang if you can defang, contain if you can contain.
When I first got my brain taken out, I could only group naked. He abruptly glanced up from crunching a rock, some tungsten alloy, and accidentally pulverized it more emphatically than he'd intended. That's why I work out so hard, because it's mine. Bringing you into that part of my world, it'd be opening up a part of me I've come to accept as really private.
So we don't do anything with him. We don't chase him. Nothing.
This one's the mission. Not that one. Fuck that one. Remember all that? Get by, play by the rules, press on? Head down.
Yeah, well, it's just not that easy for me to take my moral...
head down. You're a whole new kind of stupid. Guillermo spat in his face right back.
These are the Beam Chronicles, with your host, MJ Dooney. Book 1, Initiation, Chapter 7, Jaxon Teaque.
One month ago to the day, Charlie shot the clap. And it was an eventful, action-packed month. A day had not gone by without a bust of some kind, usually multiple. Sometimes they were easy ones, geared toward getting me going, PR2s, and even a few 3s. Others were much heftier, 7s and 8s, and I'd be along just to observe Charlie do her work. It was masterful, almost artistic. She was so calculating, careful, and precise, her collateral damage was nearly nothing. And it was so coordinated, so exact. She'd swoop in and bag them in seconds every time, laughing all the while, just like in skirmishes. There was this one guy, big, hefty mutant fellow, and a team of equalizers had been tracking him for days. They'd shot him in the heart, the head, the liver, all over the place, and he just swiped them away and keep on trucking. Murphy asked Charlie to step in after enough was enough, and she pinned him in 2 minutes flat. Not a shot fired, just well-timed grooves, punches, and kicks using his own strength and balance against him, and wham, the behemoth was on his back. Then she ungrouped his head and let the equalizers who couldn't tag him clean up the nasty orangish goop that came spouting out. Beyond the busts, I still had an hour or 2 a day helping Phil work out his line of technology based on my Jaxons, 2 hours of skirmishes with Charlie, which had been elevated to beneficial and entertaining since my recommitment to effort, an hour or so of fitness training, plus all the paperwork Charlie pushed onto me, and I do mean all, the briefings before and after bus. I slept every once in a while. My point is, it was a busy month. I'd managed to fully integrate myself as a cog in the machine, yet despite all of that, I was still stuck on that first mission. It rocked me to my foundation, and I just couldn't shake it. I was still stuck on Charlie shooting the clap. I even talked to her about it a few times. She was easily my closest friend at Beam, in spite of our ruinously opposing ideologies and diametrically contrasting personalities, and general tendency to bicker, and there was ample bickering. We always managed to pull together, though. I think we complemented each other just right, and our relationship was one of mutual respect, at least I hope so. But the one thing about her that always drove me crazy was how she approached the ethical repercussions of what we were doing, which was to shut it all out completely. And she'd start to do just that every time I mentioned our first bust. She'd remind me that he tried to shoot us, that he was a thief and an attempted murderer 3 times over. She'd make some joke about how she only killed him because he spat on her anyway, and how we saved him from decades of unrelenting bullying in prison. I'd smile and half agree and try to suppress like she did, but I couldn't suppress. It was yet another thing that Charlie was just better than me at doing. There was such an obvious resolution in which everybody got to stay alive. I was starting to see how rare those were to come by, and I was regretting that I didn't get the one that presented itself to me right off the bat. The guilt was consuming me, and Charlie's solutions, swallow, backburner, ignore, weren't working. So I made an appointment to talk to Howie. When I told Charlie about it, at first she laughed, like a lot. Once she realized I was serious, she adamantly insisted it was the worst idea ever. She practically begged me not to follow through, to talk to her or even Murphy instead, but I stuck with it anyway. Sometimes you need to hear things right from the source, and Howie was the origin of Beam ideology. As the meeting drew closer, I think Charlie kind of warmed up to it a little bit. She warned me countless times to keep my wits about me and tread lightly, not to say anything stupid, but Howie, as she put it, was a master of deception, distraction, and manipulation, while I was gullible, over-emotional, idealistic, and a pushover. So maybe in that respect, he could help me ease my inner turmoil by distracting me from it. I didn't really care. I already accepted I would never have all my qualms completely settled. At this point, I was just looking for a lie that was convincing enough.
Jaxon, welcome.
Howie waved me into his office as I nervously poked my head through the elevator door.
Come in, come in.
I made my way to the single chair in front of his desk. Twice now I had been in this room, and both times there were exactly enough chairs for the anticipated number of sitters. Last time there were 4, this time only 1. Yet the office contained no closets. It was wide open, spacious, bright, essentially the entire second to top floor of Beam HQ. I couldn't conceive of where he'd put the other 3 chairs, but on my list of mysteries surrounding Howard Prophit, this would land far from the top. Thanks for seeing me about this, Howie. I know you're super busy and all.
Yes, quite unorthodox, I must inform you.
He stroked his goatee while sizing me up.
I've never had a one-on-one meeting with an equalizer before. Typically, these sorts of things fall into Murphy's domain, or in the very least, the psychiatrics department. Did you know we have one of those?
Yeah, I know. Charlie had told me that the psych department was mostly for equalizers who were coming undone to scam Valium and narcotics to ease the tension before big busts, or get them to retirement without shooting themselves. I correctly identified this as not the kind of information to share with Prophit. I was still bad, but getting better at identifying that type of information. I think this is something a bit less psychological and more, philosophical, maybe? Howie smiled.
Of course. Please, don't misconstrue. I don't mind talking to you on occasion, Jaxon. If I did, I would not have scheduled you an appointment. After all, Ava is somewhat of a pet project for me. I wouldn't want half of it suffering anguish over a matter of philosophy. And as the unofficial leader of Beam's philosophy, perhaps you've found the perfect place to unload what ails you.
He reached into a drawer of his desk and retrieved a decanter of some brown liquid with one hand, 2 small glasses with the other.
Bourbon?
He offered, glancing up at me without fully withdrawing from his desk drawer. I smiled, shook my head. No, sorry. Still underage.
Oh, yes, sorry, I'd forgotten.
He muttered, returning one glass to the drawer. It was odd. I was closer to accepting it than the first time he'd offered it to me in that limo months ago. But then again, maybe not that odd. It had been a severely stressful couple of months. When he came back up, setting one glass of bourbon onto his desk, he had also pulled out a comically tall stack of papers, 2 feet high. It could not possibly have been legitimate work, and yet, once he had taken a sip of bourbon...
Incidentally, I hope you don't mind me multitasking. I assure you, all I'll be doing is signing forms, all the while actively listening to you. I hope it's not too distracting, but as you said, I'm rather busy.
It's fine, I don't mind. But for some reason, I sort of did. The meeting had already taken on a strange tone only a few moments into it, and I couldn't quite put my finger on why or how. I felt my forehead start to sweat and was already contemplating telling him to forget it, thinking of how concerned Charlie was about it for the last few days. But then he abruptly pulled the top page off the stack and autographed it, locking me into my seat without a word. Once it was done, he moved it to his opposite side, starting a new pile for the completed forms.
The floor is yours, Jaxon.
All right, I begrudgingly muttered. So, do you remember my first bust?
I do, yes. It was established in this very room, not a month ago. The clap, I believe, I recall him being the butt of a lewd joke or 2.
Right. Yeah, that's the guy. Anyway, Charlie killed him. He paused the rhythmic cadence of his signature for a moment to wince, and a hissing noise escaped from his teeth.
Equalized, Jaxon. Charlie equalized him. You know how the lingo is important to me.
Sorry, I forgot. Yeah, Charlie equalized him. The cadence returned as he signed more pages, every time the exact same sounds, as if each signature was the work of a machine using the same precise motion, the same mechanical replicas coming off the Prophit press. It was more distracting than I'd anticipated.
I'm listening, Jaxon.
He insisted, as I tried to shut out his hypnotic repetition. Right. Well, it's kind of impacting me a little more than I think it should.
Uh-huh.
I guess I just don't get why he died.
My understanding from Charlie's report is that he was equalized in retaliation for an attempt on your life. That he pulled a gun and fired it upon you.
He did, yeah.
And this gives you moral anxiety should Charlie have not defended herself, and moreover, you?
It's not that.
What is it then?
Well, I mean, I understand why Charlie The cadence paused for a second yet again, but I caught my mistake. Equalized him, sorry. But I guess I wish she hadn't.
So it sounds like you're upset with Charlie, then.
I firmly shook my head. It's not that either.
Would you like me to punish her, Jaxon? I do stand by her on this decision.
No! I held out both of my hands. No, please, don't punish her. I actively don't want that. She saved my life that day, and multiple times since then. She's my only friend. This has nothing to do with Charlie.
Okay. Perhaps you could be more articulate what exactly the problem is. Jaxon, I'm trying my best to understand, but it sounds like you're saying you simultaneously understand and don't understand why the clap was equalized. If you could just perhaps paint a better picture for me of the issue at hand.
I understand. Okay, I understand why. I just hate it. Like, I don't buy into the rhetoric that he deserved to die because he stole a truck that we set him up to steal, then shot us while we were handing him over to the cops. It feels wrong.
But that is not the correct reason, Jaxon. The clap was equalized because he was trying to set himself above society into a position free of accountability in which he could hurt someone. Self-defense was the immediate motivator, but the clap was equalized plain and simple because he was an anomaly.
I mean, barely.
Zero tolerance, my friend.
Okay. Forget the clap. There was another guy there, a second anomaly.
Yes, I mentioned that I've read the report. The fly is how he's described by Charlie.
Right. So the clap was going to shoot him, and I stopped him, but Charlie told me that wasn't usually how things are done. Usually you just let the fly get shot.
She is correct. Yes, engaging in unevaluated anomaly is a bad recipe for success. You benefited from his cowardice and a snap examination of him in combat, but under most circumstances, you should have waited for the clap to fire his gun.
And if he had, say he murdered the fly, would Charlie then respond by equalizing the clap?
No, certainly not. Recall our first conversation, defang if you can defang, contain if you can contain.
Right. So, okay, this is kind of my point. We'd be wrong to equalize the clap for actually murdering the fly, but nobody says a thing when we equalize the clap when he only tried to murder me and Charlie. Don't you see the dichotomy?
No, Jaxon. Equalizing the clap for shooting the fly would be declaring yourself judge, jury, and executioner. That's vigilante justice. It's the very sort of thing we're aiming to snuff out for the sake of protection. In the other case, the case which occurred, it was only a matter of self-defense. Your error in judgment arises from the assumption that you and the fly are equivalent.
Isn't that the whole point? Isn't that what Beam's mission is? Equalizers, right? We make things equal. But isn't the very process of making anomalies equal to everyone else setting ourselves on the very same pedestal that we aim to knock them off of?
Jaxon, you're thinking entirely too much about this, and from all the wrong perspectives. Do not over-muddy the simple facts. We equalize anomalies because they are dangerous. Allowing them to persist on their pedestal leads to accidents, injuries, and tragedies. We are different. Equalizers are organized, structured, checked, and balanced. Allowing us to persist on our pedestal leads to safety and protection.
Yeah, protection, but now when it's right in front of us, right? Let the clap kill the fly because the fly might kill you, but then kill the clap because he might kill someone else. The logic, it's circular and it's insane.
I have requested that you not use that word.
Huh?
We do not kill. Equalize the clap because he might kill someone else. Your insistence on putting yourself on the anomalies level, it is borderline disturbing, Jaxon.
Howie, I am an anomaly. What the hell is the difference between the clap and me?
The difference, as I said, is your badge, structure, accountability, order, and rules.
Charlie killed the...
Equalized.
Charlie equalized the clap because he spat on her. That's not structure or accountability. It's the goddamn opposite.
So you would like for me to punish Charlie?
No. It's not about Charlie. Forget Charlie. You're just ignoring what I'm saying and trying to confuse me.
Jaxon, I am putting as much attention as my busy schedule can afford, but I'm afraid you are the one doing the confusing. Some of your notions do not resonate with me, and I'm merely trying to comprehend where you're coming from.
If you handed Tanaka a beam badge 10 seconds before he exploded, and everyone he equalized when he melted down was an anomaly, is it suddenly not a tragedy? He paused. Did I hit him?
That question is irrelevant.
Why is it irrelevant?
Because I did not hand Tanaka a beam badge, nor would I ever hand Tanaka a beam badge because Tanaka could not be contained. I handed you a beam badge, and with it, the responsibility and accountability to equalize as many anomalies as you see fit, which in 3 months' time is 0. A troubling statistic I choose to overlook in the hopes that the future will bring more promising results. But first, you must overcome the notion that what we do here and what anomalies do out there have any semblance of similarity in form or function.
Why me, Howie? I stood up and slammed my hand on the desk. He did not stop signing papers, didn't look up, didn't even flinch. Forget the rest of it. Pretend I never said it. Pretend I walked into your office and that was what I said. Why me?
We've already discussed this as well. I'm getting tired of repeating myself. Jaxon, you can be controlled. You can be contained. You can be focused and organized.
So could all of the anomalies I've busted so far? That doesn't answer my question. I don't want to know why I have the potential to be an equalizer. I want to know why I am one. The harsh reality of this place used to give me a stomach ache, Howie, but it doesn't now. It's starting to fade. I'm worried. I'm desensitized to it. The word equalize doesn't send shivers down my spine. When Charlie makes a bust, I'm more impressed with her efficiency than I am horrified about what she's doing.
You seem to keep coming back to Charlie.
Forget about Charlie. I told you it's... Look, maybe the reason it's killing me is just that it was first. The clap was the first equalization I took part in, the first step down a slippery slope that's leading me to head down, plunge ahead like Charlie, yeah, but also Murphy and Phil and everyone else. It keeps getting easier. Why is it getting easier? He didn't answer or look up. He might have been smiling now. I pressed on. Maybe I'm just haunted by the concept that when all the work is done, when every anomaly is gone, and Beam has pulled every boogeyman out of the closet, ended every fairy tale, I'll be the monster who got away with everything just because Howard Prophit had a vision, and something randomly within me made it so I could push things without touching them. The Clap was an idiot, and a jerk, fine. But who's to say our roles couldn't have been reversed if the fates had made him the telekinetic, and me the down-on-his-luck loser with a bad idea? That's all it was. I was just lucky, Howie. Don't you see how guilty that makes me of all the anomalies in the world? Well, why did I get so damn lucky? When Beam was just a fragment of a spark of an idea and the borders were still being drawn, who set them up so that I was the one equalizing and not being equalized?
I did.
Well, what the hell gives you that right? He stopped, along with my pulse. I slammed myself back into the chair, hands clasped over my mouth. Howie shut his eyes, set his pen down, and brought his index fingers together under his nose. Then he let his eyelids snap open. In a month of fieldwork, in 2 months of sparring with Charlie, and in 18 years of life, I had never been more scared than I was when his eyelids snapped open. He finally spoke, icy, quiet, deliberate as cold molasses.
If you would like to see, I will gladly demonstrate what gives me the right to define the borders. Cross one and see what comes next.
Mr. Prophit, I really didn't mean to...
The only people who call me Mr. Prophit are those trying to get something from me. So then, Mr. Teaque, what exactly is it that you want?
Howie, I essentially groveled. I am so sorry. I don't even know where that came from or why I said it. I think it was the pen noise, and you weren't really paying attention to me, and I am a moron. I didn't mean it. I promise I didn't come here to question your authority or to make
Jaxon.
He lifted a hand to quell my logorrhea, smiling his gentle, subtle smile, the venomous daggers removed from his eyes in an instant, as if they were never there at all.
You have already said enough.
Too much. He belly laughed louder than seemed appropriate.
Perhaps too much. But you say you are sorry, so no need to debase yourself in an attempt to obtain my forgiveness. I give it willingly. You'll soon find it is amongst my most treasured virtues, perhaps only superseded by loyalty.
I'm loyal, Howie. I'm loyal.
It was not intended as a dig, Jaxon.
It's just all been weighing really heavy on me, and I'm having all this guilt and self-doubt. I just kind of snapped, I guess.
Yes, I understand. Your apology has been accepted and we progress. We all have these moments now and then, Jaxon. Perhaps next time you feel one coming on, I could recommend not bringing it onto me. The psychiatrics department, by chance.
Huh, right. Good idea, probably. Then his eyes widened, as if suddenly struck with a perfect plan.
Or a better idea yet. I may have a solution for this after all. You see, I'm getting the sense that you still don't quite grasp the whole central essence of what Beam is about. Perhaps this is on me. I may have been overexcited about finding you and rushed you through the formalities a bit. If this is the case, then allow me to apologize to you. Hopefully you're as forgiving as I am.
He chuckled, then leaned back in his chair, steepling his hands and tapping his sealed lips with his index fingers, scrunching his eyes at the ceiling.
You may therefore benefit from seeing the entire process through, open to close, how the whole ordeal unfolds. All you've been seeing is the end product, without all the delicacies and intricacies involved along the way. You're starting a race at the finish line. Who could blame you for not grasping the exhilaration of the destination, for not seeing what all the fuss is about,
Yeah, that could be it.
Oh, it is, Jaxon. I know it is. Yes, I think only good could come of it, a month or two in evaluations. I think you'll learn quite a bit about Beam from that, and perhaps a bit about yourself. Yes, I'll file the paperwork immediately for a temporary transfer. What do you think, 1 month? 2?
1 is probably enough.
Oh, we better make it 2.
After my meeting with Howie was over, and I counted myself lucky to leave it head still attached to neck, I went to pay Charlie a visit in her apartment. I'd never been, but I thought it'd probably be a good idea to let her know right away about my 2-month stint in evals. She hated when I withheld information. When I reached her apartment, I lifted my hand to knock, but she answered immediately before I could. Sometimes her sixth sense was downright creepy.
Well, if it isn't one of the 5 people I would actually open my door to talk to. What's up, bud? Lost again?
She was not wearing her trench coat. Her chiseled abs were on full display, but I managed to maintain eye contact. Honestly, I quit thinking about her in that way like weeks ago anyway. No, dang it. I'm not lost. God, one time. I just wanted to let you know something, and I thought it should probably be me you hear it from, or you might not even believe it.
Alrighty, you want to come in?
No, it'll be quick. I don't want to bug you or anything, but I just got back from my meeting with Howie.
Oh yeah, and how'd that go?
She snorted pessimistically. It went well, I think. I kind of lost my temper for a minute, but he settled me down and talked me off the ledge a bit.
Yeah, man, politicianed you up and down that Kentucky coast. Got you all buttered up, sweet candy cone of comfort, rubbed you down in honey. Watch the birdie, Jaxon. Look at the birdie. Then he spread his ass cheeks and you just licked him clean, huh? Put your mind right at ease, you gullible twat.
Gross, Charlie. Like 10 times grosser than necessary. She just snorted at her own disgusting metaphor. Yeah, he actually offered me a solution, and I'm gonna see how it works out. He said I could probably benefit from seeing things through from the beginning to end. He said I was seeing the race from the finish line and missing all the intricacies of the process.
Whoa, fuck. Are you joking? Did he really say all that?
She was instantly dumbfounded, eyes the size of pancakes. Yeah. He decided it would do me some good to be in evals. Yes, I anxiously replied.
Oh, JT.
She covered her face and shook her head.
Oh, sweet idiot, JT. Come inside.
Why?
Because I'm worried just standing in the hallway, the world is going to kill you. Come inside and sit down.
I was pretty baffled, but I didn't know what else to do. She seemed insistent. I made my way over to her couch and she sat down next to me, still grimacing and shaking her head.
How long?
How long what?
How long did he put you in evals?
Well, he thought that 2 months would
2
be...
months?
Yeah?
The fuck did you say?
What are you talking about, Charlie?
JT, he's punishing you.
No, he's not.
Yeah, 2 months in evals, that's a punishment. Remember what I told you about that department?
That it's full of desperate psychopaths?
Also people being punished. Did you know that in 12 years, 0 equalizers have died? Guess how many evaluators have died?
0?
130, Jaxon. All they do is knock on anomalies' doors and hold their breath that whatever is on the other side doesn't blow them up on sight. How exactly is that going to help you? Now, I'll repeat it slowly because I don't think it's setting in yet. Howie is punishing you.
But, no, he said it was for a new perspective. He told me it would help me with my guilt and my questions and give me a new understanding for how things work.
Howie lied?
Oh my God. And then he said 1 month or 2, and I said 1 is good, but then he said better make it 2.
So I repeat, the fuck did you say?
What an idiot. I couldn't believe I was such a sucker. I maybe might have questioned his authority a little.
A little?
I think what I said was something like, what the hell gives you the right, like, to pick who gets to live and die?
Oh, shit.
She covered her mouth.
You said that? What the hell and everything?
I gulped and nodded.
Wow. Never mind. 2 months is generous. I'm surprised you're still fully assembled.
But then after that, he told me it was all right. I apologized, and he told me that it was all forgiven, and we were okay, and he wasn't that mad.
Howie lied?
She gasped again, more sarcastically, more exaggeratedly. Ah! I smacked myself in the head a few times. Charlie, what am I going to do? First, I'm too scared to do anything. Then I'm too weak. Nobody ever talks to me except for you and Phil and Murph because I was supposed to be the chosen one, but I'm not. And now I'm so stupid, I backtalked myself into 2 months of timeout that'll probably kill me. Why am I so bad at this place? I had been through a lot in my 3 months at Beam, but in that time, all the doubt, sleepless nights, and failures, I prided myself on never having cried. Today seemed like the kind of day where everything I was proud of was being taken away from me. I didn't care, but God, I wished I weren't doing it in front of Charlie. But then in her indescribable unpredictability, Charlie tried to console me.
Diddy, come on, man. It's not that big of a deal. You're not gonna die in evals. You're an anomaly. You're telekinetic, dude. Who's gonna kill you? It's the idiots around you who are going to die, so just, don't make any long-lasting friendships down there. Don't get attached or learn any names, and you'll be fine. 2 months will go by in no time, and you'll be back up with me and Murph, and we'll laugh about this. Murphy is going to love you for this. Seriously. What the hell gives you the right? Oh my God, you have no idea how perfect that is.
I smiled, trying to will myself to stop crying, but kind of unsuccessfully. Thanks, Charlie. I just can't believe I had Howie pegged so wrong.
I tried to tell you. He's a schmoozer, you're a schmuck. Schmoozer beats schmuck, it's like rock, paper, scissors.
I wiped my nose. So then what beats a schmoozer?
A cynic. That's me. Unfortunately, to complete the trifecta, cynics feel bad for schmucks, hence you crying on my couch.
Yeah, sorry. I know you hate other people's problems.
Whatever. I've cried a few times since I got here. You're still in the part where it gets better. You just gotta learn to shut your mouth once in a while. I knew this meeting was a bad idea. I should have been more insistent and saved you from it.
Guess I had you pegged wrong at first, too. I thought you were a real dick.
Ha! Well, no, that's actually pretty accurate. I think you're just detecting the whole cynic schmuck thing.
She suddenly snapped her fingers as her face lit up.
Oh, hey, actually, here. I'll help you out with your shitty judge of character. There is one name in evals you should learn. Maria Caraway.
Yeah? A desperate psychopath or serving a penance?
Penance. Big one. She used to be an equalizer, like an important one, like probably the only equalizer who'd ever crack into Squad 2 if they took on a new member, but Howie recently put her in evals indefinitely.
Indefinitely? Wow. What did she do?
Well, we don't really tell that story around here.
Charlie suddenly and strangely seemed embarrassed, or maybe even angry with herself for mentioning it in the first place. I didn't press, and she jumped the train of thought back onto its tracks.
Anyway, yeah, she's good people. You two will get along famously. Got that same stupid guilt reflex. I mean, she's a little tougher than you. She was an equalizer for 4 years, but she's another one of those 5 people I actually would talk to if they came to my apartment. I think she runs an evals team now, actually. She'll take care of you. Seek her out, get under her. Hell, maybe literally, huh?
She suggestively nudged me with her elbow, but I ignored her super subtle undertones. Wait, you actually literally have 5 people you would talk to? I asked.
Yep. Maria, because she's cool. Howie and Murphy, because I'm obligated. You, some kind of mix of those 2 reasons. Oh, let's say 80-20, cool, obligated.
I blushed. It felt good to be in her exclusive good graces.
And then the 5th one, I don't actually know his name.
Not Phil?
No, he's like Ukrainian or Slovakian or something. He doesn't speak any English. I think he's in accounting. He brings in donuts every Friday. It's just the principle, you know? Can't even talk to people. Still shares his donuts. Real quality guy.
I glanced at her 6-pack. Yeah, right, like you eat donuts. She snatched a pillow off the couch we were sitting on and modestly blocked her stomach.
Hey, once in a while. Besides, don't you listen to me? I said it was the principle, you fucking creep. Oh, right. Speaking of you being a fucking creep.
She briskly grouped into her bedroom and walked back out holding a little chunk of something before I could completely register that she'd gone in the first place.
So, I know you probably weren't counting, but tomorrow is going to be our 50th bus together. Unfortunately, since you're in timeout now, I can't give you your 50th bus present until like August, and then you'll just think it's a birthday present. So, I guess it's the 49th bus present then.
She tossed me what appeared to be a rock. You got me a rock?
Yeah, remember when we were playing Crush the Chunk of Shit in Phil's lab a few months ago, and then when I mentioned I used to group naked, you popped a woody so fast the sample got reduced to the size of the chances that I'll sleep with you?
I had to laugh, but my face got hot as I did. Yes, actually, I was kind of hoping you didn't remember that.
That's the sample. That's your boner rock.
Charlie, I said, appreciatively examining my rock. Again, 10 times looter than it needed to be, but also considering the source, so sweet and thoughtful. Thank you, really.
Also, part 2 of the present. I'm going to start helping you work out.
I looked up abruptly, firmly shook my head. No, Charlie, you don't.
Yeah, I very much do. I've seen you lift once or twice. Your form is atrocious. You're gonna pull like every muscle in your body if I don't step in. You suck, JT. You suck at everything you do and it makes me uncomfortable. You still can't come in while I'm working out. That's still me solo, but I'll be there for yours. I'm going to fix you. Get you into real shape. Happy 49th bus, JT.
I almost felt like crying again. Charlie was a vulgar, disgusting, short-tempered ass, and a cold-blooded murder machine. But she was a damn good friend to have when I only had 2 or 3. At least for all of my mistakes at Beam, all my misplaced trusts and bad decisions, all the corruption and deceit I was just becoming aware of, at least I had one good thing going. Charlie and I were all right. I just feel bad. I didn't get you anything.
No, you did. You got me a 2-month vacation from you. Plus, I get to imagine the look on Howie's face when his prodigy called him out on all his bullshit. That's the best gift I've ever gotten, really.
Thank you for listening to this episode of The Beam Chronicles, a fiction podcast written and produced by me, MJ Dooney. I'm really having so much fun sharing this story I've been working on for 15 years, and that's why I'm doing it. That said, I would greatly appreciate it if you could leave me a rating on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you're hearing this, and also follow algorithms and all that. Also, if you like what you hear or want to get updates, you can follow me on Twitter at Beam Chronicles or TikTok, same handle. I've also been posting episodes to YouTube. If you want to like, follow, subscribe there. I still have no idea what to do with Instagram, but follow me there too, I guess. If you want to give me some encouragement or ask me a question directly, you can contact me through email, beamchronicles@gmail.com. All music and sound effects were sourced through the Epidemic Sound Library. Special thanks to Sergio Duarte for creating the cover art for this podcast. You can find him on Instagram. I've actually been sticking to a weekly schedule pretty well, but I might cut back to monthly pretty soon. Thanks again for listening.